Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened, as I said it would. People will be... Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. This looks like a trilby. It's a bucket hat. I want to put it on because I've not had my hair cut, but when I put it on like a bucket hat, it looks daft with the headset. But then again, it looks daft like a trilby, doesn't it?
You look like a slightly shit Victorian detective at the minute.
Yeah, a bit like what? What's he called? What's that gadget called?
It's a bit Poirot, isn't it? Maybe.
Not Poirot, the famous one.
It's not Sherlock Holmes.
That's the one. That's what I was thinking. I mean, it's not
wrong.
Yeah. Mate, I don't know about Sherlock Holmes, to be honest. So, that's a bit too far, isn't it? There we go. Yeah, I don't do Sherlock Holmes. I think I watched a remake, was it, with Jude Law and someone, I think, maybe?
I think Robert Downey Jr., but this doesn't feel like we're talking about Leeds very much.
No, but that's fine, mate. This is the Just Joe Football Show. We speak about many things.
Also, many karaoke yesterday, as far as
we had a bit of a sing song. Yeah, we did. We enjoyed it. We had fun. Much fun was had. This is probably more like it. Inspector Gadget.
That's closer. Yeah,
I do have a massive arm as well. Yeah. Oh, nah. Never mind. Stacey said almost a year. WTF? I know, Stacey. Don't know where you've been of late. I haven't seen you in the chat. Have you been two-time me? Have you been like out somewhere on other streams? I think that's been the case. I've not seen you. Here we've got the tribal chief with us as well. It is, of course. Go on then. Get your guns out, mate. You're dying.
I ain't got no guns. I heard you talking about your huge arms. That's what it was, mate.
Yeah, huge arm. Show us your guns. Just give us one flex.
I ain't got no guns, mate.
Show me the. Come on,
do it. Mate.
Just one.
That's a good one. Once. Well, you want to get the lats more involved. Do you want to get more of that?
Oh, look at that.
My arms aren't my strong suit.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. Yeah, here we are, though. Listen.
And settings.
Yeah, Chael Sonnen. I like Chael Sonnen.
The biggest arms in Westland, Oregon, mate.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man. Listen, Luke will be joining us from Ought to Know Better as well. Everyone else is otherwise engaged. I'm trying to mix it up, so I didn't want the same heads doing the post-match reaction live and then final word, but sometimes it's hard to get a hold of people. But we've got all the J's tonight anyway. You've got Joe and JT.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. What more do you need?
Okay.
Yeah, it is all you need. What we'll do, we will speak about last night and then we'll finish up with some, not last night, yesterday daytime. We'll finish up with some transfer news as well, because obviously the January transfer window is now open, which of course means links are happening left, right, and centre. So yeah, we've been linked with left backs, centre backs, maybe centre backs leaving and all that sort of stuff. So we'll do it, right? We will chat about it. But first and foremost, let's speak about yesterday. And Joe, obviously, me and JT spoke on it on the live post match. What were your thoughts on yesterday's 3-0 thumping of Wayne Rooney, costing him his job? By the way.
Very fun, wasn't it? It's very nice getting Wayne Rooney sacked. I think when everyone saw the team sheet come out, everyone was somewhat terrified, but I didn't mind it too much. I'm one of those people that's always been, maybe Firpo's been a problem because he's always been injured, although, let's be honest, he's not really shown much otherwise. But then he gets 2 assists, and that's quite nice. Everyone's been saying Patrick Bamford is done and gone and has never been any good. And that's some revisionism I've never gotten behind.
Let's not say, this is why I like this guy, man. I like him.
Yeah.
Because I think the stat that I've memorised about Bamford is he had 1 season in the Premier League fully fit and he was the 4th top scorer, so you can't really complain about that, can you? And then he's come back, he's come into the starting lineup. His positioning's meant that Rutter's completely free to do whatever he does best. And everyone shone in yesterday's match, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was just a fun watch, really. I did my first watch-along thing, and although everyone got a little bit chaotic, someone left your chat, actually, because you were doing karaoke and was like, Joe, I'll stay here if you don't sing. So that was quite nice of them. And yeah, it was just a good time all around, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, that person needs to stop shouting at clouds and just calm down a little bit, doesn't it? You know what I mean? If I want to sing, I want to sing. It is what it is.
Especially when you've got a
JT,
beautiful voice like yourself, mate.
Well, exactly, mate. What can I say? It's like the voice
of an angel.
Exactly,
Had
mate.
its wings clipped and fall into dog shit.
That's a good point. The Mum Overlord says, I'm not cheating on you, I promise. Good. That's good to know. I mean, you're allowed to watch other people, just not when I'm live. I'm only joking. Come on then, JT. You're a Bamford lover as well. I've gone on a roller coaster with him and did say a couple of months ago, I'm done. But I also like
couldn't trap wind, I heard.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That will be true. I will have said that once upon a time. But what I will say, before the game started, and people can back me up on this, I did say I felt that we would look better and function better as a side with him leading the line, and that proved to be the case. Are you happy by that, about that, JT?
I'm very happy. I mean, we even the day before me, you, Andrea were on, and we were talking about it. And I remember Andrea was critical.
What's your language, by the way? Because that video got demonetized and has not been remonetized. I don't know why.
I didn't say anything in that.
We said F. We said F, which was you did. You said F.
Did I say the F word?
Yeah, so I think that's what did it. But just yeah.
Was it me? No, why am I getting the heat for it?
You owe me some money.
I'm a changed man. Why am I always getting the heat for the demonetization? No, listen, Andrea's got a bit of a foul mouth. What can I say? No, we were speaking about it on there, and my main point was, listen, the guy hasn't been given a crack. He's been given 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. I can't remember him starting a game. Like, it's been that long since he's actually started a game up front for Leeds. Fark said himself after the game he had a good preseason. He wanted to get him involved, but he had injuries and whatever. So he never really actually got that opportunity of having a full 90 under your belt and seeing how the team can play. Because when he came on, it would be the end of Rutter's game. He would maybe take a lot of the time recently when he's been bringing him on. He's been taking Rutter off. And my whole point was, Rutter, look, everyone's raving about him in the 10, but everyone that's raving about him being the best 10 in the world are the same people that I was either talking to a few weeks ago or were commenting or whatever and saying, we need to sign a number 10. And now you're agreeing with me that Rutter is the best number 10 about, in my opinion. And the reason he is because when you have a striker in front of him, listen, I'm not going to go on it because we've all said the same points, but when you've got a striker in front like Bamford, who can press, who can drag defenders away, who allows Rutter to sit deeper, that's when you unlock the best of him. And my point has always been, whether you think Bamford's the best player in the world, if you think he's trash, whatever you think, I can guarantee you the system of the team functions a lot better with the players we have when Bamford's up front as opposed to when Perot is playing in the 10 and Rutter's playing at 9. And that's never been, as I've always been said, I've been critical of Perot from about match week 3. And that is not just me saying that, I have. But that's not because of him as a player. That's not because of what he's done in the past. It's because of the system. And the system trumps all in today's football. You see it with Pep Guardiola. How many world-class players does he just throw away because they don't fit his system? And I'm no Fox, no Pep Guardiola, but he still has his ideology of how he likes to play. I think Bamford suits that just a lot better. Do you guys actually, I want to ask you, Joe, not Joe Wayman, Mr. Bamford hater over here, but you, because you back Bamford, you've been rating him, saying similar things to me. Would you think it's more that you highly rate Bamford or you rate someone that can play in that pressing system? So my second lead-on question from that is, do you think we should get another 9 in the January transfer window?
It's a weird one because between Pirou and Bamford, you've got the perfect striker. You've got Pirou that can finish. You've got Bamford who's got the movement and the positioning. I think for me, I wouldn't go after a number 9 in January purely because there's bigger priorities to deal with. There is get that left back sorted. Ideally, although Rutter starting as a 10 is a good thing, we still need a second one because what if we need Rutter elsewhere or Rutter gets injured? If we lose Rutter or Somerville for an extended period this season, we have some pretty big problems. But
we're done for.
we're gone, yeah. But I think all the people that were saying Bamford is done haven't been paying attention to the fact that on average per appearance this season, you might point out he'd played 16 matches before that last one this season so far. On average, he was getting 13 minutes a game. What the hell do you expect him to do in that time? And admittedly, one start isn't going to be enough to say he's good enough to start every single match for the rest of the season, because it's not enough of a sample size. But to start a match, get your time to learn how a centre-back plays and learn how to deal with that. You need that time to become a part of the match. And I think Bamford, rather than coming off the bench, if he starts more matches and he keeps performing like that, then I don't think we need another number 9. I think we'll be fine.
Mm.
I think that's a good point, actually. And just quickly before, go on too big of a spiel, I think in the history of football, people are too quick to judge players on time they've come off the bench, because there's always certain players that just their style of play, their physicality, whatever it is, leads into being a better bench player. Like you see it with the likes of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or whatever. Maybe starting on the pitch, he's not the best, but when he comes off the bench and he can use his energy for 20, 30 minutes, shock defenders, he was a phenomenal striker. And in the history of the game, there's many people like that. That could be due to your pace, that could be due to other physical attributes. Maybe it's due to how you read the game. But certain players are just better suited to starting football matches. And they, like you said, they can get accustomed to the defenders first 15, 20 minutes, knock himself about. Bamford he's a bit of I know people call him a silver spoon player, but he's a bit of a dirty guy, He can get stuck in there, the odd cheeky elbows, whatever. He can win fouls, he can anger defenders. And I think you see he's really into the psychology of the game. And once he gets 20, 30, 45 minutes in, he gets defenders and people so rattled that they make wrong decisions. And I think there's certain aspects of his game that you don't quite get off the bench. But anyway, that's my spiel.
Yeah, let me. What I do want to say is just give some. I don't want this to just be, everyone loves Bamford show, right? Because not everyone is obviously on top of Bamford. Joe, I'm going to mute you while you're typing.
Sorry.
That is very loud. It's all right. I've muted you. Go again. It's fine. Yeah, I've muted you, bro. Don't worry. What
you muted me again.
Yeah, right. It's just like I was like, freaking hell, man.
That was proper angry typing, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was talking about your shirt, which is it the Mexico away one from the 22 World Cup?
Yeah,
that's a beautiful shirt, mate.
Gorgeous,
there
mate.
you go, then.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's minging, but we move. No, on the Bamford thing, listen, football fans are fickle, football fans change their opinion, but it was only a couple of weeks ago I was going, listen, this guy needs to leave in January, we need to get a new striker in, etc., right? He has a good performance yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, Bamford, he can do a job. Which, he can, right? But I still don't think that we shouldn't be improving upon that, especially going into next season. But if there was the option to bring in a number 9 that can do what Bamford can, then I would look to bring that player in. But for what we're doing right now, I think it's fine. And I think he keeps his place. I think Pirro will probably play in the 9 against Peterborough, and Bamford will keep his place for Cardiff away. And I just think, like you have both mentioned, I think in terms of not just his pressing, but his intelligence, in terms of when to pull centre-backs right and left, which then enables those behind him to have more space. I think Dan James has come out and done an interview saying Bamford gets the best out of me, or I get the best out of myself when Bamford's playing. And again, a lot of that is due to movement. And we've seen that. Because what we have seen in the games up to yesterday was a lot of the time, especially when low blocks are being used, is players getting in each other's way. And you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that from Bamford, because he's already stretching defenders before we even get the, play into the final third, if you like. So it would be interesting to see, if we could go back, how then games would have gone had Bamford started. I think they could have a different look. And look, I'm not rewriting the whole history and saying, if he started every game, we'd be top of the league. That's not what I'm saying. I just think it's a fair statement. Unfortunately, Kate's not here. I haven't heard from her, because I'd have loved to have got. Maybe that's why I haven't heard from her. But she's not here to speak about. She's gone into hiding. I think she's away on holiday, or I know she was away New Year's singing her heart out the other day on Instagram. But yeah, it was mad, wasn't it? Look, here we go again. I was like, what's going on here? And then she were proper going for it. I was
singer, though.
Yeah, I know. I was with my friend and I went, she can hold a tune, actually, to be fair. unlike me. But yeah, Luke, let's talk about Bamford, mate, 'cause I know you're a big fan. It was great to see him in the 9. And I think the most important thing I want to talk about as well, Luke, is the fact that when when Pirro came on for him, there wasn't a switch. He stayed in the 9, which is great to see him moving forward. I think Firpo will now have to play them that way, won't he?
Yeah, I think. I mean, we've obviously been calling for it for a long time. I mean, just to start, I don't think Rutter is the answer for the 10. I know a lot of people do on the back of that game. I still think we need a sensible, older, maybe more experienced player to come in and who can just pull, who could do what Bamford does, but slightly deeper, find pockets of space, move defenders around, and create passing lanes for your wingers or for your striker. What I do want to take out of it is he can do a job with somebody in front of him who can do what he wasn't doing in the 9, which is pull players around and pull players out of position, make them make mistakes, and it was enjoyable to watch, wasn't it? At some stages, actually seeing that Sanderson just actually no man's land when he had such a good game against us in their home fixture. He literally beat us to everything that came into the box. So yeah, it was nice to see that there wasn't a switch as well. I still, as I say, I don't think Rutter is the answer at number 10. Maybe long term, I don't think he. I think if we were playing a different game, if we were playing West Brom, I don't think he would have been as impactful, for instance. If we were playing Sunderland, I don't think he'd have had that impact in the 10 because they are much better than Birmingham are defensively. So ultimately, I think we need to be looking in this market, certainly, for an older head to come in and a more experienced head who can find those pockets of space, those gaps, and pull players out of position and thread in our elite attacking line at this level, which we've got. We have got an elite attacking line and options at this level. So yeah, but yeah, I'll just I think JT and I have been banging the Bamford drum for a few weeks now on the final word, as to say, look, we need something different, and he could be that difference. Now, let's not get carried away. We played what was then Wayne Rooney's Birmingham. Yeah. We weren't playing anybody of any substance particularly. And the home form isn't what we've been struggling with. It's the away form and going away and trying to beat teams in their own backyard who don't want to concede pretty much. So be interesting. I think Peterborough's a good chance to see what he might be looking to do in the future. But I also almost want to see wholesale changes for Peterborough. I don't want to see anybody near the first team play for. I do want to see people near the first team, but fringe players who haven't probably got enough minutes this season. A bit of a fitness exercise. I don't care if we go out the cup.
No, I'm a bit like that with the cup as well. I couldn't give two tits, to be honest, honestly. But I think the only player you can guarantee will play will be Ethan Ampadu. I guarantee it'll be Ethan Ampadu will play. I have to disagree with you on the Rutter in the 10 thing, Luke, and that's fine. Football is about opinions. I do think that's where I see his future, and I know you said that as well, but I even think now he's a cut above the division and the players that are going to be going up against him. So I think maybe in the Premier League he might struggle in that area, but in the Championship I think he cooks on gas. So for me, I would keep him there, but I would also advocate bringing in another 10. The only issue we have is bringing in a 10 that's going to be willing to be used as because I heard you on No Better talking about Carvalho, and I know he plays off the right, but Carvalho, these sort of players like Sarmiento's just been recalled from West Brom, who's now going to Ipswich. These players have been recalled because they're not getting minutes. To come to Leeds United, you need to guarantee them minutes. And we're not in a position to be guaranteeing any player minutes. And Farker's not going to say, oh, yeah, I'll drop James. Yeah, I'll drop Somerville. Yeah, I'll drop Rutter. He's not going to do that. We've already seen with Spence. He's not willing to put Spence in just because on paper he's a better right back. He's playing great on merit and what he's seen on the training pitch. So I think that's the only issue we may have with loans. That's why I don't think like Leicester will get Carvalho, because who's he going to come in for? Like Fatawu or Mavadidi, you're going to drop them because we know Liverpool are shrewd operators in that area. They do say if you play them this, if you don't play them, we want X amount. They're not daft in the loan market. So will be interesting to see what I guess what Leeds United come up with, because we do definitely need a body in that area. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat there. Went down the wrong hole. Wow, I need to take a water.
Just quickly while you're doing that, Joe.
Yeah.
I think the thing on Rutter for me is I'm not saying he can't do it in the 10. I just feel it's probably not the best time to start trying to make somebody learn a new trade. Do you see what I mean? He looks clumsy. And naturally, he just looks clumsy. He looks like he just always looks clumsy, no matter what he's doing. But he's that strong and he's that athletic that he makes things happen. You know, we saw he had no right to do that stupid touch on the right wing yesterday. Absolutely no right, but he still did it. And that's the sort of thing that makes you think, yeah, he could do it in there. But then you see him when he's trying to do rainbow flicks in the middle of the field and he loses it. And he does lose possession a lot of the time.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
It depends what you like in football, mate. I like that, mate. I like a bit of cockiness, a bit of arrogance, a bit of flair. I like that kind of thing. And I think that's actually what's changed his game. I think if you take away that aspect of a player, if you start trying to coach that out of him, you can coach the fun out of him. You can maybe coach the confidence out of him. Like, I think doing those bits of skill gives him so much confidence to carry on other aspects of his game, because every time you look at it, even if he's picking up the ball in our own 18-yard box, he's still confident that he can take it round a player and he can take it round 3 or 4 players. And I think the step down to the Championship, when it's all said and done, will be massive for his career going forward, because there must be a reason why when we signed him, even when he wasn't playing in the Prem, Dortmund and all these other clubs, Marseille was still sniffing about from. And I think him going down and just looking around and being like, hang on a second here, I am 10 million times better than all of the players in this league. And he's showing it week in, week out.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair enough. I don't think Daniel Farke was happy about his unnecessary need to do that touch. I don't think. I think I'd read that he was there. He threw his hands up or shook his head or something. And we've heard him say things before about him maybe showing off a little bit too much. But I agree with you. If it's there to be done, do it. Why not? Just make sure that you get it right, because if you get it wrong, then you look like a tit. Do you know what I mean? So I just want to say as well, long time watcher, I just want to say, while I remember, happy birthday to R. Stripper. I always struggle with his name, because when you say it quick, it's, you know what I mean? So yeah, R. Stripper. And Lee makes a great point, because I noticed this is at the time as well. When Pirro actually came on, he looked at Rutter and he did have a little chuckle as if to say, I'm up top. So it's almost as if they're probably speaking about it in the camp, and seeing the performance, he's probably gone, we've sorted it now, boys. Bamford sorted it out for us. Rutter, you're staying in the 10. Who else impressed you yesterday? We'll go around the houses if you like. Joe, I'll come to you, Joe Blackburn. Who impressed you most outside of Bamford?
I feel like it's a conversation that we're going to have at some point anyway this evening. I want to say Firpo. Because what Firpo has always been able to do is Firpo has always been good at the attacking stuff, has always not been so good at the defensive stuff. He was given a lot of opportunities to do all of the attacking stuff. I wouldn't trust him against a Leicester. I wouldn't necessarily trust him against a Sunderland. However, Birmingham, playground. He's quite good at the attacking stuff. The defensive stuff, you've always got an Ampadu who can drop in behind him and cover for it. He's got... Who was on that side yesterday? It was Cooper yesterday, but think having Strauch next to him as well, that's another layer of security. Cooper wasn't too bad either. He was fine enough. But Strauch's got that little bit more pace that can recover in behind Firpo whenever he goes for his nice little wanders. I just think he was quite good. You can't get 2 assists and still have everyone saying, well, he had an average game against a bad team. And it's like, well, you can only play what you're against, can't you? If you play that pass, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. You've still kicked it from here to here, and it's still gone to your teammates' feet. Can't really complain that much, I don't think. I can't wait for the chat to just sort of absolutely go in on the fact that someone's rated Firpo.
Nah, you're in here.
Hey, mate,
right?
you're telling me I've been getting that for years, mate. I love this guy.
We've got here, Lee says, Joey's outnumbered 3-1. So let them have their moment, and then I will say my piece.
Finally,
Luke,
mate. I've been literally like in a World War II trench every time I say anything good about Firpo, just getting rained on. So
Yeah.
you know what? I like it. I want to hear what you guys have to say on the matter. I've spoken.
Luke actually texts me. Luke actually texts me saying, "I hope you've been getting battered for what you said about." So
Yeah, look.
Go on.
One swallow doesn't make a summer, does it? I mean, look, he had a really good game yesterday, but for every good game he's had 5 or 6 poor games for us, if not more. So let's not get too carried away. But based on yesterday, you can't argue with Firpo. He was my man of the match, actually. Come on off the bench. You know, I was surprised they brought Firpo on over Jed Spence, but given Jed Spence had been playing left back now and then, I was surprised Farke did that. But Master, I mean, he still looks like he's running in treacle. He must be the slowest left back I've ever seen, apart from Ian Hart. I mean, it'd be a shit race him and Ian Hart, wouldn't it? But you can see why he was so good in a back five, because he wasn't having to defend that much, and he can get forward. He had that license most of the time. He was situated left midfield, left wing anyway. But against a team that hasn't got much, if anything, in attack, that was sort of sat in their own half for 90% of the game, it does work. And just to sort of reiterate what you say there, Joe, I don't think you'd want him to be lining up opposite, Mavadidi or whoever plays on the right-hand side, Fatui, whatever he's called, and or anybody who with a bit of pace and a bit of trickery who's actually going to come at him. But when we're controlling the game, absolutely his type of game. Yeah. And I've said this all along.
Yeah, no, fair play you have. And listen, he nearly scored from a corner as well. And I said at the time on the watch along, he was a goal away from getting a perfect 10, 2 assists and and a headed goal. I think the important thing for me with Firpo, if we are going to play him, because I still think positionally he's a bit all over the shop. And if there's, like, I look at, say, when we played West Brom, for example, the amount of space that Byram played that game, the amount of space Jed Wallace has, that's going to be more common in other games with Firpo playing as your left back, I think. And I think a lot of onus has to be on a Kamara to make sure he drops in there. Maybe you play Gruyev because he's more defensive-minded when you play Firpo. This is things that we might see towards the back end of the season when he starts to rotate it due to legs and stuff like that. Because Firpo isn't there to defend. Like, I think we can all agree, because there was one challenge he made on the edge of the box where he just ran into the lad. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, because we all know he can't defend, can he? He cannot.
I think that's a bit. I think that's
no.
He
cannot, JT. He cannot defend, bro.
I love what you guys were all saying, but I think you're a bit harsh when you say you wouldn't want him up against a Mavadidi. You wouldn't want him up.
No, he's not, man. Stop being daft, man.
Listen, we saw it last year when he's on form. There was a couple of great performances. I can't remember the teams. Obviously, Blackpool rings out to mind, but last season in the Premier League, where he actually defended very competently. The problem with him sometimes is if he gets a bit too overzealous in the attack, then sometimes he doesn't quite have the energy to track back at times. And the challenge you said he made outside the box wasn't really the thing that worried me about him. It was more, there was one moment where they kind of lost the ball. He was up the pitch and he tracked back to get like kind of just behind the guy. And then he kind of just let him run off him, and he didn't really put much of a challenge in. That's the one flaw I'd say to his game. But as you said, going forward, it gives us so many more options. It frees up Somerville. It just allows us to overload the wings, and it can cause problems. You saw it there today, man.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But we were on about that, right? I'm on about his defending. People are saying let go of the agenda and that. I'm telling you, Firpo had a good game. I'm now no longer saying sell him, get him out of my club. But what I am saying is he can't defend. Like, I'm not having that he can defend. I'm not having that someone actually
defend.
I've never really give flowers for Jed Spence, bro. I've never given flowers anyway. I prefer Gray.
No, I'm right back. Well, that's yes,
a whole other, that's a whole other debate. I've said with my chest. There's a reason Farke plays him there, but we can't exactly say.
You also said Somerville was useless.
Oh, here we go, right? Do you want to do this? Do you really want to do this?
Oh, it's all about my boy Sam Greenwood. I train with him. That Somerville guy. Oh, he's a bit too flash for my life. And all that.
Now, I wasn't the most avid watcher at the time, but I feel like there's probably been some choice things said about Rutter towards the end of last season as well.
Oh, boy, absolutely. But I mean, that was different. That was a different story, mate.
I think one thing for me, I think one thing for me for Firpo and having a left-footed person left on that left back or whatever you want to call it, it was left wing back at most of the game while he was on. Is actually having a left footer in there. The difference it makes to be able to put the ball in rather than having to come back and pass it backwards. You know, the majority of Byram's sort of attacking output when he gets into those positions, he turns around and brings it back in field, and almost creates more of a problem because we're already saturated in that area. Whereas Firpo was just getting the ball in the box, he was overlapping, trusting because he's left-footed, and he got his two assists.
That's the point I was going to make until JT said that he can defend, mate.
Yeah, but also is attack not the best form of defense? Listen, to play devil's advocate, as we know, positionally at times he can be a bit all over the shop. As I said, he commits himself a bit too much forward. You know, commits his entire mortgage to the attack, and then sometimes on the defense he's not quite there. But what I will say is, if you are having a left back storming up the field with the left winger, overloading that side, then their winger, whether that be Mavididi or someone else, has to take away from their attacking play to track back and defend. They have to use energy to track back and cover that. If you have a defender that's just sat back all the time, then the winger for the other team doesn't really have as much onus to drop back. They can save energy and just sit around that middle of the pitch and wait to attack. If you have a fullback constantly driving at you, that's going to take away a lot of your game. And then all of a sudden the winger is second guessing themselves. They're like, hang on a second. Every time I commit to an attack now, I have to worry about Leeds getting on a counter attack and I have to track Firpo going back. So listen, whether that accounts for all of the defensive deficiencies you're talking about or not.
It doesn't.
But it's an interesting point, and it
Yes.
can take away from. It's all about the psychology of a player, and it can take away from their game.
Plus,
those
second
things
football's
can go
more fun.
underrated.
Right, look, I don't want to go through this because what about all the other games then that it didn't take away the psychology of the player? What are we going on about here?
No, it's true. Listen, I've played wing. I haven't played
the simple facts are the simple facts are Firpo's good going forward. It's great to have a left-footed left back in there because he was able to pick out 2 assists. He almost scored. But let's not rewrite the history and say he's amazing. He can't defend for toffee, and he's a yellow card waiting to happen. So as soon as Byram's fit, you play him, and the club will go out and get a new left back. But I'm happy with him being in the squad, and I think we can draw a line under Junior Firpo right there.
How many more good performances
harsh,
though, Joe? Until you get him on the back of your shirt.
Never, man. Never.
I'm getting senior on my next shirt, mate.
Senior Firpo. No, listen, if a bid came in for Firpo, though, would you sell him?
Depends.
What's the number? Yeah.
Well, to 5 million.
How many billion?
If we got our money back on him, yes.
We won't get our money back though, will we? Sure.
Are they giving? If they're giving a Joe Cancelo swap deal and a bit of cash, then maybe I'd think about it. But it's a bit of a harsh one.
So you said Firpo. That took a lot longer than any of us expected, Joe Blackburn. I'm going to talk on Rodon for a little bit just because he was my man of the match yesterday. I think Rutter got it on the boost vote and my man of the match, but I think just defensively, Joe Rodon was phenomenal yesterday. Covering for everybody, covering for the right back, the left back, covering for Cooper. His pace is deceptive as well. I didn't realise how quick he was until you see him, marauding from right centre back over to the left back position, and I think it's the way in which he doesn't just hoof it out. He's pretty calm on it as well. We all want to make this permanent. I think the positive thing is, Luke, you tweeted something yesterday. I think that guy, the Radu, I think Spurs are signing him, so there's no problem whatsoever about them recalling Joe Rodon. So yeah, I think there's the makings of a really good, strong centre back partnership with Strauch and Rodon long term. One thing I do want to get Gilly or Smarty on here, by the way, because they've been talking some smack on Strauch. I can't believe they don't think he's a Premier League centre back. I was watching it, the review or the pod the other day when it was just had them two on, and I was like, really? I didn't realise they felt this deep about it. But yeah, I think for me that's long term a really good partnership, and I'd be more than happy with them two starting in the Premier League next season if we did get promoted. Does everyone agree?
I agree.
Yeah, I think the thing with Strauch and Rodon is they seem so comfortable and they seem so confident when they're defending at the moment, at the very least, when they're on a decent run of form, that it feels like any striker that's coming up against them, it feels like they can just go, right, behave, we'll deal with you, and will also do effectively the job of a defensive midfielder and be fine anyway. And it's the fact that both Strauch and Rodon have played those more like forward-facing roles at the same time. So they're happy to do all the defensive stuff, but at the same time, when we're doing the chuck 1,000 attackers on plan that never works, they're still confident enough to take the ball forwards and sort of do the job of the midfielders that aren't there anymore because they're now Willie Nonto and Jaden Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the Premier League is a completely different question, and it's important not to get too far ahead of ourselves because we've got to get there first. But I think we've already seen Joe Rodon in his brief spell in the Premier League over at Tottenham Hotspur. Didn't exactly go too phenomenally.
No, you can't. No.
Didn't
You
exactly
can't do
go.
that.
Listen, didn't go too phenomenally
He
over
never
there. And I'm
was
going to go off
used,
my
bro.
eye test. I'm going to go off my eye test. Listen, from
He
the
never
beginning
was
of the
used,
season,
JT.
when he first signed, I'll be as honest as I can. Yeah, I was not happy at all that we signed him when we first brought him in. I was really uninspiring to me. He's won me over quite a bit with quite a few of the performances this year. I do have to say that. I have to hold my hand up and say, listen, he's proved me wrong in a lot of aspects of his game, especially the way he started the first few games, scoring an own goal, giving away a stupid red card. Those kind of things really kind of pushed him down again. I wouldn't say he's on the level of a Ben White. I know a lot of people compare him to Ben White. Ben White was different gravy, and there's a reason why he slotted straight into a title competing Arsenal team and did not look out of place. So Ben White, I would not draw the comparison with because he was just a phenomenal talent and very, very consistent. The thing I'll say of Joe Rodon, consistent. He's a good ball carrier. And defensively, at times, he's composed. He's quite composed back there. He's calm, and he's able to clean up other people's messes. However, what I will say about him, similar to Liam Cooper in a few ways, he has got a bit of a calamity in him. Like he'll have like a great game for 85 minutes and then he'll give away like a stupid foul or he'll be out of position or have that moment where he clashed into Archie Gray and they kind of kicked the ball off each other and they went through and scored. He has a few of those moments in the game for him. And that's
every
the
defender
only
does
thing
that,
that kind of...
Every
defender does, but I mean, there's certain that are more prone to it, aren't they? There's
He's
certain
not,
players...
man. I don't know
would say
which Joe
my
Rodon you were
experience this
watching.
year,
Which
Listen,
Joe Rodon
I
are
see
you
him, mate.
watching?
Listen, mate. He's had a few clangers this season, and to say he hasn't,
When?
I think it'd be a bit of an okay. What was that? Was that Rotherham, the game where he like tackled Archie Gray and gave away a goal?
Ipswich won it.
No, that wasn't Ipswich. We beat him 4-0. I'm talking of recently where him and Archie Gray had the moment in the box and he kind of tackled it past Archie Gray.
I think it was Rotherham for the equaliser.
It was Rotherham. Yeah. It was Rotherham.
Rutherford or the opening goal.
And he almost scored an own goal that game as well, where he kind of like dove into the box and it just bounced off Mellier's stomach and all this. He has a few of those moments in. That's the only caveat I'd say when people like jump on saying he's like Ben White 2.0 things. But I do think he is a good defender. I just think unproven at the Premier League level as well. But Struijk I would definitely keep in. I think he's been our best defender this year, personally. I think Struijk's been phenomenal.
On the Rodon Premier League past thing, you've also got to look at sort of the eras that he was playing for Spurs in. I had a quick look whilst you were talking about Rodon slide tackling Archie Gray. So his time at Spurs was the end of Mourinho's tenure there, which, as we know, as Mourinho was leaving a club.
By the way, it was panic buy when they brought him in.
Yeah, as Mourinho was leaving a club, it's going to be a shit show. Followed by Ryan Mason as a caretaker, then Nuno, which went, as we know, he was sacked in a matter of months, and then Conte, and then he was moved out on loan. So he's not had like the longest of times in the Premier League to sort of prove himself. He's had a total of like 15 appearances or something daft like that. I think to say he's not Premier League proven is in the same way as any fairly young player in a Premier League club that goes out on loan a lot of times isn't Premier League proven. In theory, they could be. They've just not been given the time, and they were in an absolutely batshit situation that is just no one would thrive in his spot, I don't think.
Yeah. Who's putting that in the chat? Listen, I do agree with you. Listen, the Premier League proven thing can be, it's a small sample size of actual consistent game time and whatever in terms of him being Premier League proven. I do accept that, and I see a lot of people, as you just re-put in the chat here, saying I'm on the packet, I'm on the gear for that comment. Listen, I'm not someone who's going to equivocate for the sake of it. I know it's an unpopular reason. I'm not trolling. I'm not on my Weatherspoons vibe. I'm not, I'm not on any substances. But listen, what I will say, I'm just not 100% sold on him. And I know everyone's going to turn around. I saw a few people saying there's a lot more positive aspects to his game than these few negatives. And that's why I compared it to Liam Cooper. He had very good positive aspects, but he did still have the moment, like when he slide tackled Meslier in a key game against Derby and kind of changed the game in the, which probably stopped us from getting promoted that year.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. I do want to keep it in the centre back sphere. Luke, it looks like Charlie Creswell's going to be leaving. He's not in the matchday squad yesterday. Farke, after the game, basically said as much. If he wants to be here, he can fight for his place, challenge, etc. And then in the past 24 hours, we've seen Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Ipswich, every club and his dog in the Championship wanting to sign him. How do you feel about that, first and foremost?
Obviously, first, I mean, my initial thoughts, I'm quite disappointed. He's rated quite highly as a centre back. We didn't, he didn't look out of place when marking Antonio at West Ham, and had a really good game there. Surprised we haven't seen more of him, but the other side of it, the devil's advocate says, we're not seeing him train every week. We're not seeing his attitude. We're not seeing the type of things that he's doing behind closed doors. And there must be a reason for that. I think his dad's his agent. Is he? I think, or is he his agent?
His dad works in the agency that represents him, or something.
That's
like
right.
That.
Yeah, that's right. And if he's not getting game time, and he's been bigged up by his dad and told that he's the best things in sliced bread, he had a mixed season at Millwall on loan, shall we say, last season. I don't know where I stand with it. My feelings are that he's a Leeds lad. It would have been great if we could have seen more of him. I expect him to be getting quite a bit of game time this season. The fact that hasn't happened leads me to believe, that things are being said behind closed doors, and he's been advised that he's probably better than being on the Leeds bench, or not even on the bench in this case. So, two sides to that, mate, and ultimately, I don't think we'll ever know until he does move, which is looking more and more likely it's going to happen. I think for me, though, I'd be very wary who we let him go to, because
we can't be letting him go to Ipswich.
He's clearly a strong defender, and he will improve the majority of the teams in and around our level. Tough one, really tough one. Be a shame to see him go. I don't know much about this lad from Hammarby we've been looking at as well as a potential replacement.
I was just going to bring that up. So Leeds United officials will meet with Hammarby this week to discuss the proposed transfer to Nathaniel Adeji. I think he's a Ghanaian international at youth level. 3 to 4 million, quite cheap. 21-year-old, as I say, wanted by a host of clubs. I think the most important thing, I know Lockie has been watching him this evening, to be fair, and he's played in a back three, but has played at centre back. If you look at his heat map as well, which is straight away what I had a look just to see which side he was playing at. I think the most important thing is he basically is 2-footed. He can play either side as well. So if you are looking to move Creswell on, he's almost like the perfect sort of backup that we need, because obviously you've got Cooper on the left, who basically is on his way out anyway, probably not going to get a new deal. You then bring in this guy, 21-year-old, obviously well thought of, and can play anywhere really across that back line, it would seem. If you look at his heat map from this season, that's quite impressive, and that's something that we need. So they've obviously seen his qualities and feel that it'd be a good acquisition for us. I'm on board with it, just based on what. Listen, I take a lot. There's a lot of people that know a lot more about football than me and are aware of players on the continent and have certain tools they can use that will enable them to view clips of certain players and all that sort of stuff. So, I think I take what they say as decent. So, based on what I've been told and what I've read on social media, and that it seems like a very good acquisition, and very tall as well. Yeah, Danny said I think he's like 6'4". He's a bit of a man mountain as well. So the fact that other clubs want him, it's cheap. He's 21-year-old. It makes sense to me. I know Creswell, we have a special feeling towards him. He's come from the academy. I'm hearing that Creswell might not even be a loan as well. It could be a permanent. I think Alan Nixon's saying that as well. He's come out and said it as well, that Leeds will be willing to listen to permanent offers. At least we're active though, right? I think that's the most important thing. We're active, knowing that if Creswell leaves, then we have this guy in backup, and it sounds like he could be one of the first through the door. It's impressive though, right? The fact is he can play on either side, right centre back, left centre back, 2-footed. I'll show you actually. This is so the White Rose Rivals podcast. Actually, I'll show you this as well. So one of the Rotherham fans' mates is I don't know if you'll be able to make it out. Let me see if I can zoom in. Just 1 second. Let's have a look. Yeah, here. You can see it. Look, saw you a link with that lad from Hammarby. Got a friend who's a season ticket holder over there. Oh, this must be a Swedish fella. He says, basically, this is what he had to say on it. He will be a top-class defender. He's still young and doing some silly mistakes, but when he ends doing, you can tell it's broken English. When he ends doing these mistakes, he will be a beast. He's fast, big, and have really good feet. So he must, but no, yeah, he has really good feeds. But yeah, it's impossible, and one that shows that Leeds United are still active and they're looking. And I have enough faith in the likes of Hammond, Steinton to make sure they get the right players in, because they haven't steered us wrong yet, have they? To be fair,
yeah. And even then, looking at Sweden in the first place is quite a clever thing to do, because clubs don't like to sell their players for a low fee in the middle of a season, because you need them, especially when it's someone that's starting quite a lot for the team. I've had a quick look at his stats. He's someone that played 24 matches and made a total of 16 fouls, which for a centre-back is absolutely incredible, because it shows that he's tackling really consistently. But we've been, I think, clever enough to not only sign someone that's that good, but wait until January when the Swedish season is done, because they do it on like a year-through basis. They avoid playing in the winter because, being Sweden, pitch is constantly frozen over. We've sort of picked out a player that we can get for probably less than what his value is actually going to be. Yeah. Avoiding perhaps a daft mistake of saying we'll wait until summer, because in our opinion, that's the best time to buy players. It's not in Sweden, and it's a good thing for Hammond and Steinton, because it's shown that they're intelligent and they're thinking about all of these things, and it gives me a little bit more confidence in the rest of their signings, because they're thinking beyond the player and more about the market itself.
Yeah, and just when you mentioned about the tackling as well, actually, it's quite interesting, because Lockie said in all the clips that he'd been watching, he didn't see him slide tackle once, which is always a good sign of a good defender as well, is that he's able to read and anticipate. I know we all like a good slide tackle, get in, do you know what I mean? But the fact that when you don't have to, you're always told, in it, stay on your feet. If you're having a slide tackle, you've left it too late, you've misjudged it, you're on your last legs. So the fact that he didn't slide tackle in any of the moments you've mentioned, the tackles there as well, shows he's got a lot of quality. And I think he'd take to the division just because of his stature and stuff as well, right? Physically, he looks like he'd be able to deal with the English game.
He would, but I just don't know if. See, because I was researching this earlier, actually, and it seems to be like a lot of two-sided information, because there was one, I think it was LUFC Fan Zone, that were really behind this and saying that there was like a £3 to £4 million deal, and it was kind of being hammered out between the two clubs. But then there was other reports from Leeds All Over, which is basically saying that the interest isn't quite as strong as people were thinking before, and there's actually like a whole host of clubs linked with him: Sunderland, Coventry, Preston, QPR, Ipswich, even Millwall Town. Ipswich and Millwall Town are meant to be the two front runners. And if there's a lot of clubs interested, especially Ipswich, my only fear is are a club like Ipswich, who are probably more in need of a central defender or a defender in general, going to be more likely to persuade him to come over than Leeds.
But are they as able to persuade him financially as we are? Because we've still got the parachute payments. They've just come up from League One. So they could find a struggle there.
We do, but we also have a lot of other pressing issues that we have to deal with financially, either goings and comings. And there's even, I think, to prove that we need finances, I think there was even talk of us letting Robin Koch go permanent to try and get a deal. I think I read something. I don't know why I was reading an article about it.
Basically, you're chatting shit, JT. Stop talking. You're reading an aggregator site, right? Wait, I'm giving you all the information. You're reading an aggregator site that's telling you BS, bro. What's he on about, man? What is he talking about? Let me mute this guy.
No. I'll read it. According to reports from
He
Germany,
is leaving, bro. Out of contract.
Yes, out of contract, but there were reports that we wanted to accelerate it 6 months before and give him
and get him to pay money when he's out of contract.
Listen, I'm just reading reports. I'm reading.
And I'm telling you they're wrong.
Well, you can tell me they're wrong, but listen, mate. Build are an extremely reliable source, and they said there were talks about potentially trying to get him on the wage bill earlier, sorting out a negotiation to where we can. Save
on their
money as in get him tied down to a permanent. Listen,
yeah, of course, because he's out.
Maybe right. I'm reading the things, but all I'm saying is financially, Leeds do need to let some players go, and we do need to sort some stuff out to get money. And I think one of the main ones we will let go is Nanto. I think that will be a heavy funding base for the rest of the season. So we've got. But there was talk of Robin Koch as well. I'll show you the article right now from Bill.
No, JT. I know. I've seen the article. We know. We're aware of this. What we on about here? We were talking about the centre back. You took it somewhere else.
No. Because the reason I took it there, and I will let you go on and also saying, because he was touching on, do we have the financial clout to outdo an Ipswich? I don't know.
Yeah, yes, of course we do.
I don't know, as in key areas we do, but would he be a player that we'd be able to give a more appetizing deal to? I don't know. That's my only point.
Yes, because we're getting rid of Cresswell.
Perhaps if we get rid of it, that would be given that we do get rid of Cresswell.
Even if we didn't get
rid of anybody,
we're still financially better off than Ipswich at the minute.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah. I don't think you did, but now you do.
Yeah, but what do you mean? I'm not having that, mate. I'm not having that.
Sorry,
you stitched me right up there, mate. You got.
I haven't stitched you up, man. You got me yourself up. You stitched yourself up.
Every day's a school day, JT. It's okay.
It's true.
We're all learning.
But listen, you got me back for the Somerville comment. I hope you.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. We're even now. We're even. It was almost as bad as Wayne Rooney's son saying Raul Jimenez was on his way to Birmingham. Have you seen that, folks?
No.
So if you have a look on Twitter, basically someone has been chatting to Kai Rooney and the fucking screen recorded him, and he's basically saying that it was all the players' fault. Wayne Rooney was going to get loads of players in from the Premier League, and one of the players was Raul Jimenez, who actually just scored for Fulham against Arsenal the other day. Apparently, he was going to 20th place Birmingham City under Rooney, but yeah, I don't know. It's funny. You'll have to check it out. It's on Twitter. But yeah, listen. We're coming up to the hour. Obviously, Josh Doig is a left back. Leeds United have been linked to currently at Hellas Verona. He's one that could be coming in. We'll have to wait and see. I think Luke. Is it Luke? What was he called? Luke Thomas as well. Luke Thomas, who we were originally linked to in the summer. He's having his loan cut short and sent back to Leicester. I think they want to bring in Ben Brereton Diaz, apparently. So they need another loan spot. So they'll send him back. So that could be an option. I don't know. Look, where would you say is the most? Let's finish up with this. Where would you say is the most important positions? Because I still think it's left back and a 10. I can understand why the club are going after a centre back, because we clearly need cover there, especially if they're going to let Cresswell go. What do you think, Joe? Would you go for a number 8? Would you look at a striker?
I think for 8s we're probably fine. For 8s we can't forget that Archie Gray is effectively a number 8. True. He is, on the face of it, a playmaker that has just sort of been like molded into a right back by Firpo, and he's pretty good at that. But he can still play midfield. And you've got to consider we've got Gruev, Ampadu, Kamara. We're fine for 8s, I think. Although Ampadu's more of a 6, but he can do whatever, basically. I still think left back is probably the most important thing. There is an argument for a striker, considering that we bought Rutter to be a striker and then he wasn't. Then we bought Piru to be a striker and then he wasn't. I think on signing a striker, I'd wait a couple of weeks. I'd give Bamford a couple more starts. If he's able to keep performing to the standard he did against Birmingham, sure, we probably don't need a number 9. If he isn't, maybe consider one on loan, because we've still got a couple of loan slots. Left back is still vitally important because as much as Firpo did all right, we don't know if that's consistent and what if he gets injured because he's as brittle as Sam Byram is. Number 10, I would probably still want a secondary number 10, but it's probably going to be hard to pull in a top tier one when you're basically telling anyone that we're going after. It's going to be really hard for you to start because we've got Rutter here. Everyone loves Rutter. He's really creative. You need to earn your place in the squad with him. And we know that with Farke, the only way you earn your way into a squad is through 15, 20-minute appearances. And we know that's often not quite enough for someone to show that they have that level of ability. I'd say left back that can start is ideally up there in terms of the pecking order. Very easy to do as well because we can basically say, you're a dedicated left back. Firpo's probably off at some point. Byram is more of a backup player that has been sort of hammered into shape again. You will start, and that'll be a lot easier for someone like JUSTJOE to say, yeah, all right, sure, I'll be starting in a team that's fighting for promotion this year. We'll be fighting for promotion next year if they don't go up. And if they do go up, it's in the Premier League. So...
Yeah, I think that's a great shout. I love this shout. It's been mentioned a few times. I think he's just a better Patrick Bamford for me personally. I wouldn't mind Keith Moore if I'm being totally honest. Someone like that. What about you, Luke? Any thoughts?
Similar, really. I think we need a dedicated left back, somebody who can defend and attack. Tony Dorigo would be nice, but yeah, I think for me, the predominant position for me is actually a 10, and somebody who can pull people about. As I said when I first joined tonight, somebody who can just naturally do it. A Pablo Hernandez type, even somebody maybe not to that level. I mean, I know Pablo was amazing for us, but even somebody maybe not even to that level, but just as somebody naturally who can. I mentioned Pritchard from Sunderland, somebody like that. You know, Sarri, whatever he's called from Norwich. Somebody like that. And these are players. I mean, probably not so much Pritchard, but certainly Sarri. If we were to be promoted, he probably could make the step up. Do you see what I mean? But other than that, I think we're probably going to be scratching around the loan market for improvements.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be interesting to see who we get because I think a lot of these youngsters, if we do go to the loan market, we won't even be aware of. Do you know what I mean? Because they're in the under-21s, unless, of course, you watch that religiously or you work in football, which a lot of people do, and then we hear bits. JT, you're not gonna say outlandish at this moment, are you? What position do we need? You're not gonna tell us we need a new manager, are you?
No, I've never said that. Listen, I made a bit of a fool of myself a minute ago with that. I just did a bit more deep diving on that article, so I apologize for that. I'll hold my hands up for that one. Ironically, the site was called Caught Offside. I've all been caught offside big time with that one. For me, I think not to be outlandish. I know not a lot of people are saying it. Obviously, I've been clear. I want a number 9, even though I do like Bamford. I think a position that people aren't really talking about that I think we could need is a winger. I know there's been a few Ryan Kent links, but obviously I think that's just rubbish. We get linked with him every year. But the reason I will say potentially a winger is because I'm a bit resigned to the fact that we might lose either Jaden Anthony because he's not had a lot of game time, or Wilfred Gnonto, because there's been serious talks about Wilfred Gnonto going. And if Gnonto goes, I think maybe not necessarily splash the cash huge, but I think definitely we do need to bring in an extra backup winger. Because as you said, if Wilfred Gnonto's gone and Somerville gets injured, I think we could find ourselves quite short in terms of star power in the wings, personally. I'm intrigued what you guys think about that, but I think a winger could be...
I think, do you know on the Jaden Anthony... Yeah, I think on the Jaden Anthony thing, though, I think he's staying. And the reason I say that is... And I know I originally said, this chat of him going back. But the reason I say that is because if you've noticed, a lot of the players that have returned to their parent club have already done it. Do you know what I mean? If you look at all the loans in the Championship and even like Carvalho and Liverpool, they've all already gone back. I think the thing is with Jaden Anthony as well, he can't play for another club because he's already played for Bournemouth and Leeds. So it's whether or not Bournemouth say, oh, yeah, we'll take you back and you might get minutes because we're not going to have Sinisterra back because he's not going to want to come back. So I think Jadon Anthony has just have to say, do you know what it is? I'll just have to stay put and fight for minutes. He'll have to perform against Peterborough. You'll have to perform against Peterborough for sure.
I think just to add to that, Joe, really quickly, what JT said, absolutely. I mean, the players that I mentioned and the positions that I mentioned are plus, to give us a real push. Anybody who leaves, we need a like-for-like. Cresswell leaves, we need a centre back. Winger leaves, we need a winger. I don't think we're in the market to weaken the squad in terms of backup. So what in terms of the question that was asked, it was more about where we're going to be strengthening and adding rather than replacing.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And if anyone does leave, then of course we will look to replace them. And I think that's why we're looking at this centre-back for sure. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. If I was Spence, I'd ask to go on loan elsewhere. Maybe, but to be honest, he's been injured. I don't think he can be knocking down the door as of yet because he's been injured. So we'll have to wait and see. Demar says front four on Sunday, none to Anthony Poveda and Pirro. Exactly, bro. It's enough there. There's enough there. That's what I mean. We do have a good squad. I think we'll leave it there. We're coming up to an hour or just hit an hour. Thanks everyone for watching. Obviously, I'll be back tomorrow around lunchtime for any of the latest Leeds United transfer goss to see what's been said because we know it's silly season, and we'll be there to cover it. And then we'll do a bit of an evening show as well. We'll be returning. The scouting report's coming back on Friday as well with Andrea and Lockie. So they've been busy doing little bits. So we'll be having a look at some prospective buys there. To be fair to Andrea, his hit rate's unreal. He mentioned JUSTJOE back on the 11th of December. And then boom, we've been linked in the last 24, 48 hours. So it's mad. The guy's like the Oracle. So yeah, make sure you tune into that on Friday. The White Rose Rivals will be back on Thursday as well. It's back to normal service resume now that the Christmas period's over because it's been a bit up and down. Just normal service will be resumed. Boys, quick round the houses. Do we beat Peterborough? And if so, by what score? Joe?
Yes, 2-1. We make it as hard as possible for ourselves. No, we don't. 1-1, and we go to a replay so all our players get more tired, and it ruins our run for automatic promotion.
That's true. I think we get beat because it's the third round and we never progress. Luke?
Don't care.
Yeah, you don't care. JT?
Yeah,
I'm going as well.
Yeah, I think we win. I think we need to keep momentum going, keep good form going. So yeah, I think we win.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Yeah, cool, Joe. Before we leave, I'm gonna let you appeal to the masses.
I'm going to appeal to the masses. So when I gave my channel another quick look because I've been doing a completely different one for a while, I came back to this one. I saw that it's got shithole subscribers. Thought I'd try and build it up. So my aim at the moment is to try and get it monetized by my birthday. I've not told anyone when that is. So if I miss it, they don't know.
It doesn't matter. Right.
But if you could pop over to my channel, Joe Blackburn, drop a sub, that'd be hugely appreciated.
Yeah,
it's a single click of a button, isn't it?
Yeah, it's piss, isn't it, mate? Yeah, it's piss. Joe Blackburn, go check it out. Make sure you check out Ought to Know Better and, of course, JT Live as well. Make sure you go check them all out on YouTube, show some love. And, yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow around lunchtime. Big up to you all and have a nice evening. Peace out.